You are doing everything, but you're not seeing results. You're training all the time, you're watching what you eat, you're doing your steps, but you still don't look like you train. And actually, you're not even seeing much progress in your strength or your fitness either. So I'm going to tell you 3 things that might be going on. I'm Rachel, a personal trainer and online coach, helping women build a body that looks like they train without constantly needing to eat less and exercise more. So let's run through the scenario. You're exercising 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 days a week. You might even be doing double sessions. Your training mode is basically go, go, go. More. Everything high intensity, fast paced. Your runs are hard, your classes are hard. Even your strength sessions turn into cardio because you're rushing between exercises. And your diet pretty much follows a similar theme. You're always trying to be strict with yourself, keep things low calorie, trying to be good, maybe keeping carbs low, saving calories for later. And the thought of actually eating more makes you a little bit uncomfortable. You're hitting your steps, you're doing your training, you're watching what you eat, you're doing all the things you've always been told that you need to do to get in great shape, but your body isn't reflecting the amount of work that you're putting in. You're not looking as toned as you want. You're not really getting any stronger. You're not getting significantly fitter. Everything feels like it's plateaued. So you look at your week and you think, what more can I do? More exercise, more steps, push harder, eat less, create a bigger calorie deficit. But before you add anything else, I want to make something really clear. I'm not saying that training 6 days a week is inherently too much. I'm not saying you can't combine strength training with running or high rocks, classes, or whatever else you enjoy. And I'm definitely not saying that women shouldn't train hard. I want women to train hard. But the question is, can you actually recover and adapt to the amount of training and the type of training that you're doing? Because just because you can complete 7 training sessions a week doesn't automatically mean that 7 sessions a week is making you any better. So what's actually going on? There are 3 things that I'd be looking at. The first is the type or types of training that you are doing are working against you. Or more specifically, your training has no clear priority. There's just too much of everything, too much volume, too much intensity, too many sessions competing for the same recovery. Strength, running, high rocks, classes, circuits, add-ons. And before you know it, you've got 6 or 7 sessions that are making you feel really exhausted. And you're not even sure what each one is supposed to be improving. Combining strength and fitness isn't just throwing everything you can into a week and hoping for the best. You can absolutely work on multiple things at once, but everything can't be the number one priority simultaneously. Each session needs a reason for being there, and you need to be able to see that you are making progress across your training. And being absolutely knackered at the end of a session isn't the marker of progress that we're looking for. You don't need to keep collecting workouts. What you need is structured training around what you're trying to achieve. Number 2, you are chronically underfueling. This is the contradiction I see all the time. You are trying to train like an athlete with the amount of sessions that you are doing and the intensity that you're training at, but you are still eating like you are eating for fat loss. The lowest calorie option, keeping your meals small, keeping your carbohydrates low, being scared to increase your calories with your training output. And you're still just constantly trying to be good about food. But look at what you're asking your body to do in the training sessions. Day on day, on repeat. And then you're not giving it the energy it requires to do that, and you're just expecting it to keep showing up in the same way. Yeah, eating less and moving more can create fat loss. But that isn't the same thing as properly fueling a high training load so that you can improve performance and your body composition. I'm not saying that every woman needs to eat X amount of calories. What I am saying is that your intake needs to make sense relative to what you're asking your body to do. And when you're training that much, some of the foods that you have spent years demonizing are actually the foods that are going to be beneficial for that kind of training. Carbohydrates, for instance, aren't something to be afraid of. And keeping your carbohydrates low whilst keeping your protein really high isn't going to be helpful when you're training 6 or 7 days a week. And the final thing is, your rest and recovery has gone in the bin. You might be sat there thinking, but I do have a rest day. But when your rest day comes around, because you've not booked into a class or at the gym, you decide to go for an extra long walk, increase your step count more, maybe even go for a small run. Or even just find something to do, because without it you feel a little bit guilty. Recovery isn't just what time you have left available after doing all your sessions. Recovery is something that you need to have in your training week. It is part of the program. Training provides a stimulus. Food provides the fuel. And recovery gives your body the opportunity to adapt. That's where progress happens. That's where change happens. If you're constantly adding more and more on and more stress, layering that up, eventually the quality of what you do is going to suffer. You can't train as hard, your lifts stop progressing, your fitness doesn't improve, and body composition is just not changing at all. In fact, it could probably be getting worse. And then you look at that lack of progress and think you're still not doing enough and that you need to be doing more or working harder. And the cycle then just continues. But here's the thing, right, is these aren't just three separate problems. These are all intertwined. Doing too much without a clear priority, not recovering enough, not fueling enough. So your output suffers. So then you think you need to do more, and the cycle just continues. So what's the fix? If you are sat there thinking, oh my gosh, this is me, or I am heading down this road, then there's 4 things I want you to look at. First of all, I want you to audit your training week. Write down every single session you're doing and ask yourself what that's trying to achieve. What are you trying to improve by doing it? And if you can't answer that question, I want you to start questioning why it's even there in the first place. Second, look at your progression. What has objectively improved over the last 3 months? Are you stronger? Are you lifting more? Are you running quicker, faster, further? Has your fitness improved? Has your physique changed? Are you feeling better in yourself? How's your sleep? How's your energy? How are you showing up day to day? If you're training multiple times a week and you can't point to any progress, again, we need to be questioning what's going on here. Third, look at your food. Are you actually fueling all of this training? Do you have the energy to push harder? Do you have the energy for the rest of the day? Are you feeling good, or do you have a lot of food preoccupation? Are you eating for weight loss or fat loss when your training is showing something different? Do you not know how you need to eat differently when you are training for performance than when you are trying to lose body fat? And fourth thing, schedule recovery. View it as important as your workouts. And this is going to mean potentially reorganizing your training, doing a little bit less and eating a little bit more. And I know that can feel completely backwards when you may have spent years trying to eat less and do more exercise. But if that was going to get you where you wanted to be, wouldn't you be there now? This is exactly why I created Built by FSF. Because a lot of the women that I work with don't need me to convince them to exercise. They are already exercising, but they're often exercising too much or not as effectively as they could be. And quite often they are underfueling as well. So we use the Build Blueprint to do 4 things: structured and effective training, fueling appropriately, rest and recovery, and building the habits that last, so that all of this stuff together means that you're going to get results. And we stop treating more as the answer. Because if you're already working this hard, I don't want you doing more. I want you getting more out of what you're currently doing. If that sounds like something you need help with, drop me a message on Instagram with Built and let's have a conversation.